Hey everybody, welcome to Trade Confident. I'm going to teach you guys today how to draw trend lines. But first, see that video in the left hand corner of your screen? If it blanks out, goes green, or gets choppy, we have a winter weather advisory. So this is being recorded when there's a lot of wind outside. So we're going to go trade. You guys don't stop trading when it's windy outside, do you? Or when it's raining. We're not going to stop doing educational videos either. So let's go. When I look for resistance or support, I'm looking for two things. I'm looking for the peak for the resistance and the valley for the support. Those points of interest to me are also going to be the places where I look to draw my trend lines. So what I'm going to do on the chart is identify, first of all, a resistance before I draw my trend line. So can you spot a great level of resistance on the chart? I can see one right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click my ray tool. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this ray down starting at the top. I'm going to move it down until I hit a point. Bingo, right there. Okay? I hit a point. What I'm doing is I'm finding a top point of resistance. Remember in episode 2 when I talked about it, this is going to be a peak of a mountain. We're looking for a Mount Everest, guys. We're not looking for an anthill here. We're looking for those Mount Everest big structures. Once we identify that, I'm taking a ray tool, and I'll show you where that is in a second, and I'm pointing it straight up, and I'm moving it down to the right. Moving it down to the right. And I'm looking for the next wick value that line hits. Now, some people are going to tell you that it's best to draw resistances, supports, trend lines at wick values or candle values. I personally suggest doing it at wick values. That's what I suggest. I think it is a little bit more accurate. Okay, let's draw a trend line on the chart for a support. So come over here, go to your ray tool, and I'll show you where this is at. It's right underneath the cursor here. It's going to go all the way down here to the ray tool. Click that, and you're good to go. All right. Here's a support I identified on the chart. Now what I'm doing is I'm slowly moving this ray up. I'm moving it up, moving up, moving up, moving up. Bingo, right there. So once this hits this level right here, that's where I'm going to place it. That is going to be a descending trend line. All right. Let's find another one on the chart here. Let's look for an ascending trend line. I'm going to pull this high over here on the chart. So once I've identified this, I'm going to pull my ray. I'm going to move it up, and I'm going to be moving it down to the right. I'm moving it down to the right, and bingo, right there. I hit this wick high. This is what is called an ascending trend line and a descending trend line. Now, what I want to talk about is what happens when price gets close to these ascending and descending trend lines. They're only going to do three things, and if you guys watch the support and resistance video, you know what they are. What are they if you can name them out? The price is either going to hesitate, it's going to bounce, or it's going to break through. Okay? Watch this. When we drew the high up here for the resistance and we connected it to this point on the chart, and let's pretend none of this even existed, what happened when the price came precisely back up to this descending trend line? It did what? It bounced down, but it also kind of hesitated. So that's what I want you guys to watch for when you connect 2 points on the chart. The third point is where you're going to get hesitation, a bounce, or a breakout. Why not the second point? Because it takes 2 points in order to create any line out there in the world. 1 point, 2 points, draw a line between those, and you get a trend line. Okay, it's very simple. Let's do a couple more on the chart to see if you can identify it. If I look at this point right here, tell me if I'm going to have an ascending or a descending trend line. Is it going to be ascending or descending? Try to figure it out while I get on the chart here. This point right here. I'm moving down and I'm moving up. Bingo, right here. So I'm hitting the exact same point. This is another point I'd be looking at. So I'm seeing a low point in the chart right here. Pretend this isn't here for a second. I'm seeing a low point in the chart. The price goes along, the price goes along, price goes along, and bang, we're down here and I look at the chart again. Pretend this is I looked at the chart yesterday and I woke up this morning and I see it right here. This is a line I want on the chart. Okay? What I would assess the price doing at the moment is it is probably going to trade within this channel here. This is what's called a descending channel. You have trend lines that are both descending going downwards, and it is within a channel. So I call this a descending channel. All right, now let's go over what happens when the price comes to a trend line, either it be ascending or descending. What are the three things that happens again? And I'm going to draw this out for you so you guys can see this. Let's get the brush tool out. I know this is overview from the last two videos that you guys saw, but it's good to get a refresher. So if the price comes up here and starts moving up to this descending trend line, what am I expecting right here? I'm expecting to see possible hesitation. I'm either going to get a breakdown or I'm looking for a possible breakout to the upside. Okay, now what happens if the price comes down here and starts moving in a downward fashion? What am I expecting? Again, what are the three things? It's either going to hesitate, it's going to bounce up, or it's going to break down. And this is for a support. So let's get the terminology correct here. When you're on the chart and you look at the current price and you look up and we see a descending trend line, this is also acting as resistance. When you look on the chart and you look down, you see a trend line, which this is a descending trend line. This is now acting as support. So those are interchangeable there. It's a trend line, but it's also resistance. It's a trend line, but it's also support. And then the last thing I want you guys to remember is what happens. I'm going to drill this home because once you get this in your mind, it's going to make trading simpler because you don't know how many times you see traders out there, it gets to a point like this and they're like, what's it going to do? It actually gives you more confidence if you can narrow it down to three things. You're like, okay, I can stay confident here. I can trade confidently knowing that I'm probably either going to get some hesitation, it's going to bounce down or move up. Now, I'll tell you from experience of trading for hundreds of hours that usually what you're going to see is the price hesitate or break down at great levels of resistance or descending trend lines on the resistance side, or a descending trend line with a support, you're either going to see a bounce up or possibly hesitation. It can break out, but I have seen it happen more times than not that you're usually going to see either hesitation or a breakdown. I'll give you a little pro tip here. If you see 4 or more touches, 1, 2, 3, fourth touch, let's call this the fourth touch right here. The fourth and fifth touch, those are going to be weak. Those are usually places where you're going to see a breakout. So where is the strongest place to look on a trend line for a bounce? That's actually going to be on the third touch. Watch this. This is actually pretty cool. I'm going to get this out here just to remove this for a second, and then I'll show you what I'm talking about. So remember what I said. The greatest place for a bounce, doesn't matter if it's resistance or support, is going to be on the third touch. Watch this. 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch. Why is that? Is because traders are out there looking for these setups. This is a trade setup a lot of traders like to take. They like to short at resistances and go long on supports. You have 1, 2 points that create a line. That third one is a confirmed signal to many traders out there that they need to short. Okay, so what am I looking for in this example on the chart here? We have 1, 2 lines here. Possibly on the third bounce here, I would be expecting to move back up. But here's one last thing I want you to take in consideration. I want you to look left because if we take this out and we move this all the way over here, look at that. This point here coincides with this point and this point perfectly. So once you create that high or that low and you start moving your ray down at resistance or up from support and you connect those points, look left or look right a little bit. I think that was backwards in the video. I'm backwards from what I can see here. So make sure you look at that because look again, it held true, didn't it? We have a point 1, point 2, point 3, a perfect bounce. I watched this drop this morning when it came down here. It bounced perfectly off these 2 points on the chart. Interesting, because you could have gone long right here and you could have possibly made some good money. Okay, that is really, really intriguing, isn't it? You can actually use this as a trading strategy, which I'll teach on more in other episodes of this trading session. But in this video, I want you guys to understand how to draw trend lines and what to expect when the price encounters those trend lines, rather it be a resistance trend line or a support trend line. Understand this, open your chart, crypto, forex, stocks, it doesn't matter, pick your favorite ticker. Practice this on a blank chart with a demo account. If you want to try to trade it, that's great. I would recommend you guys doing a practice trading first and go on a TradingView practice account. It's called paper trading, and that will give you guys some confidence before you go live. So hope you enjoyed this episode. I'll come out with more. Enjoy trading, and I hope you guys can watch this and you can feel confident about trading. Have a good one. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.